Hello, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Get Real NBA. I'm Gabriel Alfer, and yesterday, the NBA first round of the playoffs officially ended with the Clippers defeating the Mavericks. So today, we will be previewing the second round, with full analysis and predictions for each very exciting matchup. Now, I am aware that the Bucks and the Nets have played their first game, as well as the Hawks and the 76ers. So those outcomes will be put into our consideration. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Before we start, please make sure to hit the red subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss another great video. Click the like button if you enjoy, and if you have any comments, suggestions, or anything else about the video you want to say, please make sure to put it in the comment section down below. Without further ado, let's get real. For today's video, we are going to start in the Eastern Conference with the 1 versus 5 matchup. The 1 seed being the Philadelphia 76ers, and the 5 seed being the Atlanta Hawks. I think this will be a very good series. Now, Philly obviously has the 5 seed, or the 1 seed in this scenario, and they deserve that. They are the highest seed in the Eastern Conference, and they are an overall better team than the Hawks. But that doesn't mean the Hawks are bad. The Hawks upset my favorite team, the New York Knicks, in the first round, and I'm still upset about that. But I can't deny the fact that the Hawks are a very good team at the moment, and Trae Young is playing phenomenal basketball and the best basketball of his career. The Hawks have many strengths that Philly will have to deal with, including their excellent rebounding and free throw shooting. But they have some weaknesses as well. They're a below-average defensive team. They're undersized compared to Philly, who is huge. And they don't have very much playoff experience, and Philly has a lot. Also, Sixers fans, just a word of advice. Don't heckle Trae Young, or you may also become part of one of the coldest pictures in NBA history. We've looked at the Atlanta side of the equation, but what you have to do to one side, you have to do the other. So now, let's look at Philly's strengths and weaknesses. Their strengths are that Philly has excellent defense. All their players can play pretty good defense, including Ben Simmons, who's going to be a top 3 Defensive Player of the Year candidate. For me, he's probably the 3rd or the 2nd. They're also a very efficient shooting team, one of the best in the entire league, and they have home court advantage over the Hawks, which is definitely helpful. But they have some weaknesses as well. They're not a great free throw team, and they're just not a great free throw team, which is a little disappointing, considering the fact that Atlanta is a great free throw team. So down the stretch in close games, that could hurt them. And you've got the concern over Joel Embiid's health. Joel Embiid was an MVP candidate this year, and in my opinion, he'll just come short to Nikola Jokic. But he's been hurt. He had an MCL tear in the first round of the playoffs, and although he played in Game 1 against the Hawks, where the Hawks won, shockingly, you can't have him get hurt. If he gets hurt, that might be series over for the Sixers. I don't know if the Sixers can win without Embiid. I don't. So he has to stay healthy. But on that game, Philly won 128-124. Or Atlanta won 128-124, and Philly blew like a 22-point lead at one point, and Atlanta was coming up, but they just ran out of time. I think that this is going to be a great series. Philly in 6. The next series is the 2-seeded Brooklyn Nets against the 3-seeded Milwaukee Bucks. I think this will be a very entertaining series. Obviously, the Nets are the heavy favorites to win the finals, with their having themselves a big 3 with Blake Griffin, with Joe Harris, with DeAndre Jordan, with everyone else they have there. Such a great team. But will Giannis be enough to stop them? This is one of the series that already had one game played, and in that game, the Brooklyn Nets did win 115-107. It's a pretty close game, only a 9-point or 8-point win by the Nets. The Nets played pretty well offensively. KD had 29-10, and Joe Harris had 19-2, but the main focus was Blake Griffin, who came out of nowhere with 18-14. I am very sorry, Pistons fans. But James Harden got injured, and I think because of the Harden injury, the Bucks can 100% win this series. They have a fighting chance because Harden is injured. If Giannis plays well, if Holiday plays well, if Middleton plays well, this could be a good series. Let's talk strengths and weaknesses. The Nets obviously have the 3 of the best offensive weapons in NBA history. They have maybe, arguably, the greatest big 3 of all time, and when healthy, it is hard for this team to lose. They have many experienced veterans tons of playoff experience, tons of rings and clutch finals performers on their teams, and they're a fantastic offensive team, one of the greatest offensive teams in league history. It's just hard to defend. But they have some weaknesses, including defense. Their defense is not great. Yeah, they added some good defenders like Jeff Green throughout the season, but their team is just not great defensively. They also have a lot of playoff struggles. Their players and coaches are known to have struggled in the playoffs. I am sorry, Steve Nash. And their big three has not played too many games together. If I remember correctly, they've only played something like 9 games this season, where they were 7-2, which isn't great. So we'll have to make sure their chemistry is in really good shape if they want to make it far in the playoffs and defeat Giannis and the Bucks. The Bucks are also a very good team. This is their best team they've had in a very long time, and just last year, they were the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, and this is the best team they've had. They have personnel defensively to contain the big three. Giannis, who's a Defensive Player of the Year award winner. Middleton and Holiday, who are pretty good defenders. DiVincenzo, who's not a bad defender. And they have a lot less pressure on them. You obviously saw them crack under pressure in the last playoff appearances, being 1 seeds. Now they're the lower seed. They don't have home court advantage, but they don't have as much pressure anymore, but they do have some weaknesses. They're not a great team at home, and Brooklyn will be playing in Milwaukee, which obviously isn't great. They're not a fantastic free throw shooting team. Giannis is not a great free throw shooter, which could be struggle. And they're not a fantastic perimeter defensive team. Teams get really hot behind the 3-point line very easily against them, which would not be fantastic for Bucks fans. At the end of the day, I do believe the Bucks will win this series, considering the fact that James Harden did get injured in Game 1. He is not playing tonight in Game 2, and no one knows when he will return. I think he might come back this series, but I do think that if he does not play, Bucks in 7. If he does, Nets in 7. Next, we will head over to the Western Conference, where the 1-seeded Utah Jazz will take on the 4-seeded Los Angeles Clippers. This will be a very exciting series to watch. 2 teams that are very fun to watch, but don't come out at you with anything completely crazy. This year's Utah Jazz team isn't anything crazy, but then that's what makes them crazy. A team that when you look at their roster and on paper, they're not anything crazy, but they ended up with the 1 seed in the Western Conference and the best record in the NBA. And that's because they're an all-around really good team. They have a great shooter and scorer in Donovan Mitchell. They have the 2-time Defensive Player of the Year and my favorite for Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. They had the 6th Man of the Year in Jordan Clarkson. They had the 6th Man of the Year runner-up in Joe Ingles. They're a very, very, very good team. They have Mike Conley, who was an all-star this season, well-deserved. They're just a phenomenal team. But can they beat Kawhi and the Clippers? I don't know. Utah Jazz are playing a very good Clippers team that is known for choking in the playoffs. They tanked the last couple games of the season to avoid the Lakers and to play 22-year-old Luka Doncic. But 22-year-old Luka Doncic sent them to 7 games. And last year, a team that was a favorite to win the NBA Finals blew a 3-1 lead in the second round to the Denver Nuggets. So, will LA be able to defeat Utah? I think so. This is a very good team. Reggie Jackson has been playing very well. Paul George is not PG 13%. He's not pandemic P anymore. Kawhi just shot 70% in the first round, dropping a 40-point game and being a fantastic leader, all without Serge Ibaka. Yeah, this is a team that should be in the conference finals. Clippers in 6. The 4th and final second-round matchup is between the 2-seeded Phoenix Suns and the 3-seeded Denver Nuggets. This will be a very exciting series, as 2 small-market teams who are very fun to watch and very good will go at it in a best-of-7 game series. Phoenix Suns this season have the 2nd-best record in the NBA and the 2nd-best record in the Western Conference, and then they defeated the reigning champion Los Angeles Lakers in the first round. This is a very good Phoenix Suns team, and I'm very excited to see what they have. They have many strengths. Their biggest one probably being that outside of Devin Booker, they have lots of experience in the playoffs, like Jay Crowder and Chris Paul, who are very experienced playoff performers. They also have excellent veteran leadership roles. Again, cough, cough, Chris Paul. And they're a great all-around shooting and defensive team. All their players can play defense. All their players can shoot. This is a very fun team to watch. But they have some weaknesses too. They don't have much to truly contain Jokic. Although DeAndre Ayton does play some defense, he's not an all-around defender. And Nikola Jokic is a very, very good player. I mean, he's the MVP. He's very hard to guard. And they're a below-average rebounding team as a whole. Outside of DeAndre Ayton, the rebounding is kind of lacking in Phoenix. The Nuggets are also a very good team. Nikola Jokic has been playing like an MVP. Campazzo is being a fantastic player, and he's been out-rebounding Porzingis in this playoffs, even though he's 5'11", which is impressive. Michael Porter Jr. has been hitting his shots. He's a fantastic scorer. Aaron Gordon has showed to be a great asset that they got from the trade deadline, but there's only one problem. Jamal Murray is missing. Ever since April 12th, when Jamal Murray had a season-ending injury, the Denver Nuggets have had a huge void to fill. And although Aaron Gordon, Campazzo, and Michael Porter Jr. have had a big help, they're still missing that oomph factor. They still have some strengths, though. Jokic is an MVP type of player. The Nuggets are the only team that is top 10 in field goal percentages, free throw percentages, and three-point percentages. And they have fantastic ball movement in the half court. I mean, when your center is your number one playmaker, that's probably a good thing. They have some weaknesses. Obviously, they have the void to fill from Jamal Murray's role. And they're now facing a much better defensive team than Portland. Portland is a good offensive team, but their defense is lacking a little bit. Phoenix is not like that. And you have to wonder, can MPJ be that number one offensive guy, that number two offensive guy all the time? He's still young, and we just don't know if he can be that guy all the time. And if he is an off night, I don't think the Nuggets can win. My final prediction is Suns in 6. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. If at any point you enjoyed, please hit the big like button right under the video, as it really helps out the channel, and we're trying to hit 50 subscribers before the end of the summer. Also, please hit the big red subscribe button, because that helps out the channel, and you never want to miss another video. If you have anything to say, any suggestions, critiques, or disagreements about what I said in the video, leave it down in the comments down below. I'll be reading and responding to every comment. So thank you. Also, make sure to follow my TikTok. It's down in the description, and we post daily fun basketball videos. You get to see everything about the NBA down there, and not just long videos on the YouTube channel. So please make sure to hit that with a follow. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video, and remember, stay real.